Good evening. It is Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. Welcome to the Town of Carmel Town Board voting meeting. I call this meeting to order, and I ask our Deputy Town Clerk, Alice Daly, to please call a roll call.
Councilman Baranowski. Councilwoman McDonough. Yes. Councilman Shano.
Here.
Supervisor Kazari.
Here. Councilman Lombardi is absent. He has an illness tonight. If everyone would please rise. Councilman Shano is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a moment to remember all our men and women fighting for us overseas to protect our freedom, and let's also take a moment to remember those victims of Sandy Hook on this 10th anniversary, the community, the families, and friends. Thank you.
Thank you. So if Police Chief Anthony Hoffman wouldn't mind, we have a special presentation with our new K-9 and our K-9 officer. Chief?
Yes. Thank you, Supervisor Kazari, members of the board, guests. We're here on a very happy occasion to introduce our newest officer, our four-legged officer, K-9 Petro, and the reestablishment of our K-9 unit. As the board is aware, and for the benefit of our audience, this project has been about a year in the making. Police Officer Vinny DeSantola came to me and our lieutenants about a year ago with a proposal and a presentation to reinstate the unit. It had been on hiatus for a number of years after the retirement of the previous team. Vinny had put together a great presentation that demonstrated not only the need for a K-9 unit, but the benefits of a K-9 unit, not only in our everyday duties, such as searching for suspects or for lost children or for the elderly, but also detecting dangerous substances like narcotics or explosive devices. And as well as the community aspect of it, that the dog is a great ambassador for the community, for the town and the department. So Vinny, being the good Marine that he is, took it a step further and came up with a budget for restarting the K-9 unit, which the number he came up with was close to $70,000, which is a bit daunting for elected officials and administrators like myself. Vinny still took it a step further and did research and made contacts and got grant funding and donations of services and equipment and brought that number down to zero. So the cost to the taxpayer of the town of Carmel was zero. I thank Vinny for that. So that being said, the decision to restart the unit from my perspective and from the board's perspective was an easy one, and it was also easy to pick Vinny as our K-9 handler. So we were able to coordinate with the Yonkers Police Department, and I'd like to thank former Commissioner Muller and Commissioner Sapienza for their help in getting us into the Yonkers PD K-9 school, one of two certified DCJS K-9 schools in the state, I believe. So it was very important to get into that school, and Vinny and Petro just graduated yesterday. We had a nice little ceremony down at Yonkers First Precinct, so that was very well attended, and it was on News 12. Going forward, we'd like to thank, as the department, we'd like to thank those that benefited our unit as we started out, most notably the American Kennel Club's Adopt a K-9 Cop grant program, which got our unit off the ground and was supplemented by our friends over at Guardian Revival. They provided a lot of financial assistance and helped us out with that. Those of us that are dog owners know that you can't have a dog without proper medical care, and medical care can be quite expensive. So another donation that we were able to arrange was from Dr. Diana Haight and Dr. Paul McNamara, both veterinarians. Dr. Haight is providing her veterinary services for Petro, and Dr. McNamara is the founder of Odin's Fund, who provides training and first aid equipment for canines and donated a canine kit for our unit. So we'd like to thank them for their assistance. And just like any other officer, Petro needs a ballistic vest. So unfortunately, she's not here tonight, but Ms. Amy Coves was able to donate a ballistic vest that'll be worn by Petro when he's out on patrol, and it'll protect him from hopefully he'll never have to protect him, but it'll protect him from any handgun threats or knife threats, so we thank her for that. And last but not least, some of you may be wondering why we named our canine Petro. Well, Carmel Police Officer Gary Petropalo was a member of our department and was sadly lost in an off-duty accident back in 2018. So his presence is still greatly felt downstairs by the men and women of the police department. And not only that, but Gary's family is here, his mom and his dad is a retired Yonkers canine officer who was instrumental in helping Vinny and the department getting our unit back up and running. So between Vinny and I and the department, we could think of no greater honor to the memory of Police Officer Gary Petropalo than to not only name our canine Petro, but to unretire Gary's shield number of 45 and issue it to Petro. So we'd like to thank Gary's parents for being here. So without further ado, I'd like to officially introduce Officer Vincent DeSantola and Canine Petro as the Carmel Police Canine Unit. Thank you. We do have a few tokens of our appreciation for the docs and for Gary's parents, if you wouldn't mind.
Have at it.
Mike? Yep. The docs. Dr. Paul McNamara? Was he able to make it? No, there he is.
You guys done? Thank you, Chief. So, public comments? Yeah, we'll wait a second for
Yeah.
the noise to stop.
How long do I have? 30, 40 minutes?
So,
30, 40 minutes I get?
30, 40 minutes.
I'm just kidding. I just got a couple of questions. It would be easier if I got. Oh, wait.
so before you start, right, I want to thank you for bringing these issues up and for everything that you do, right? And so as you know, the town board sent this document with its issues, with its troubling language, to the planning board, right? And we're waiting on their review. And so your other questions about where did certain things come from, we directed you to the person that authored that, right? Because I don't know what's in somebody's mind, where
Right.
they come up with it. So she gave you an answer which I understand you didn't appreciate her answer, or you're not satisfied with her answer, but I cannot.
Are you talking about Bonnie from Pope
Yes.
Beers?
Yes, the
I'm not sure
consultant.
what answer. I didn't get a direct response from Bonnie. I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Wasn't their response, there was a questionnaire, 1,001 people and all that, that's what.
Well, I got
and it
those
come up-
numbers on that.
No, about the master plan and the lake issues. No, I'm saying, you're asking, where did this come from?
Right.
Where did these ideas come from? I don't know, we
Sure.
don't know. That's why we directed you to the consultant, the author of the document.
Right.
I just wanted to just have that out there with you, right? So this isn't a question and answer, right? This is your public comment. You make comments. And so,
I can just either say it like, do you guys know, or did you know? I could just say it either way. It
could-
doesn't really matter.
you could
Truthfully,
phrase
I
it any way
understand
you
what you're
want.
saying. I don't
Yeah.
expect any answers. I expected an email at some point. Let me start again. I'm sorry. Let me start again.
Yeah, no,
My
so,
name
but
is Charlie Melchner, in
Well,
case
but let me
anybody
just
doesn't
finish.
know.
What I'm just saying is
Yeah.
that the answers to those questions in the email
Mm-hmm.
were, directed to the consultant, and whatever answer that she had given when she was here and spoke, and people were able to ask her questions, like, those are the answers. I don't have other answers for
Okay.
you, right? And, just repeating the same thing over and over isn't constructive.
I'm not here to do that.
Yes. So state your name, tell us that you're Charlie Melchner, Carmel, New York, and go ahead
Well, you
with your
said it.
comments,
There
sir.
it is. Charlie Melchner, Carmel, New York.
Yes.
My questions are pertaining to, I understand that we're holding off on a meeting until January about the zoning and stuff. I've also watched the planning board meetings while they're working through the issues and the various problems that are involved with that. Whilst I've been waiting on that, I've emailed and asked for multiple things. You have answered me on a few things. Thank you, and given me some data back on what's going on, which I appreciate. That helps me realize what we're looking at and why we're looking at it. I don't recall, I haven't seen, maybe it went in my spam box or got lost. I have not gotten an answer from Bonnie on the questions. One very specific one, which was just to state it so everybody knows it doesn't seem silly. She had told me that they actually used references of other lakes to get their ideas of the size of the docks and how many boats and stuff were going on. I said, that is great. Could you tell me what lake you used it on? Because I'm interested to know. I know my way around. I've been around a few boats. I've seen a few things. I was interested in knowing what lake it was. I haven't heard back on that and some other questions. So if I don't hear back from her, I thought that the town board would ask her to respond. But I will email her again, and I'll put you in on it too, Mr. Supervisor, so you know what I'm asking, so we make sure. And Susie, you did call me as well one day to speak as well. I do want to thank you for that, to ask me some questions as well. I don't know that I'll ever have those answers. I think we need an expert for that, which I don't believe Bonnie is an expert in the things that you're asking her to do. That's my opinion again. Okay. Now we'll get to my questions that'll be quick, which aren't questions. These are statements that I'm making. I'm guessing that's the way I'm going to put it. I took a ride to OGS yesterday, Office of General Services up in Albany, New York, because I have great concern about what's happening on our lake right now. I believe what's happening is there are a group of people, Compton and Billy Spain, in my opinion right now, along with Mr. Maxwell and Rhodey Carr, are working feverishly to go ahead and to figure out how to reduce and take away the rights of the people to use this lake. That's what I believe is going on in my opinion right now. I feel that strongly. I went to OGS to ask them about the town's ability to issue and go ahead and do some of the things that are proposed in those zoning laws. I took a copy of the proposed zoning laws with me to Office of General Services and had a 2.5-hour meeting about it. They do not know who the Lake Mahopac Park District is. I didn't think they should. But on top of that, they said that the things that we're talking about doing, the town, now once again, this is just the information I got from going a 2.5-hour ride, a 2.5-hour meeting, and a 2.5-hour ride home. I don't know if this is right. I could be wrong. We'd have to refer to legal on these things. But they're saying you don't have jurisdiction to do most of the things you're talking about doing. And if you would like to, the town's been told for about 35 or 40 years what you need to do, enacting an article, going through some state government agencies. I mentioned this Greenway Act that I've been told a couple of times. They don't really fall into any of those things. As far as the state who owns Lake Mahopac, they don't feel any of that is right. I don't know if that's proper myself. I'm only telling you what I was told from them about what's going on with it. They were extremely helpful in talking about what was going on with their lake and our lake together. I will get to a couple other things now if we're off of that now. My big question right now is the Lake Mahopac Park District Association. We're all aware, everybody is, of the last meeting they had, which have been few and far between, and there's been no information. I realize right now, I'm being told, they do not have to have public information out there for anybody. They don't have to record meetings or do that. I definitely can understand that, and I could see how that is. Even though we were spoiled with 29 years of Ed Barnett and the rest of the crew on the Lake Mahopac Park District Association doing everything so well, putting out letters and information. Even though we didn't always see eye to eye and didn't always get together on the same ideas, we managed to work collectively between Kenny, myself, and the Lake Mahopac Park District Association to better the lake constantly over those years. And many of you on the board have seen that happen and been a part of it, and thank you for everybody that's done those things. It's very, very important. I feel we're losing the transparency. I feel we're losing where we're getting information from, and I also feel it's a vital resource to our community, the Lake Mahopac Park District Association, and it's being run into the ground right now, in my opinion. And I believe that the town board fired the old chairman, who was Ed Barnett. Now, I'm not asking for an answer right now, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Who did it? Why did they do it? Who appointed our new chairman? If you don't know, it's Compton Spain. Are we looking to reorganize that board? Are we comfortable, our liaisons and our board members, are we comfortable with family members having 2 Maxwells and 2 Spains on that board? I really wonder, how do you feel about that? I guess if we're not voting and the board isn't doing anything and you're not taking information from the Lake Mahopac Park District Association, I guess it doesn't matter. But when I come to a meeting and I see what happened here and I see someone, the chairman of that board, get up and start yelling at people and causing a scene and then say, who I don't believe he's an employee of the town, and he's not, what you're saying is he's not an organization that's supported by the town or voted in or paid. He says, I'm going to get the keys to go to another room. I don't know. I would like to go get the keys and go to another room myself. Is that possible? Is that how that works? I don't think so. That was a joke. Everybody could laugh a little bit at that. But in any case, I don't think that's what should happen. And I mean, no disrespect to anybody here, but truthfully, I'm bothered by what's going on. I am getting phone calls, emails, and messages from not tens, but hundreds of people now about this very thing. And a lot of them are worried about what's happening to our lake. And you know what the problem is? I don't know who they're worried about or scared of, but they're afraid to speak up about what's going on. They're afraid. They're telling me, you know what they're worried about? They're worried about things like if they want to have something done in their house that they might not get an approval. They're worried about what might happen to their taxes. They're worried about if they want to go ahead and they want to do something in town that they might be looked upon by someone else to do that. They're worried that someone might tell someone to do something against them. My heart is so warmed by the ceremony with that police officer, the dog, and the family that was here. How great and lucky are we to live in this town and what we have? I look at what we have going on here. To have those people coming to me in the background because they're scared of speaking up about something they believe in, that's terrible in my opinion. And as I watch it all lead back over and over, I asked you nicely in an email a week, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, I thought we should get out in front of this. And when I say we, I believe we all need to work together as a team. I asked that we get out in front of this and call the town board, call the Lake Mahopac Park District Association liaisons, all the town board members to come together for a meeting, and let's get this down and let's stop speculation, let's stop rumors, let's get down to what's happening and let them answer the questions. Is there anybody here from the Lake? I don't want to look over, I know I'm not supposed to do that. The Lake Mahopac Park District Association, is there anybody here representing with what's going on? No, right? Have you spoken to them since the meeting? Or will you speak to them after that last meeting and find out? I also sent in an email, and I know dozens of other people that have told me, I don't know if they all have, they've asked to be on that board and to go ahead and to run for it. I sent the letter to them, but now they've shut down their email on there, and I've heard from one of the board members, they've posted publicly that Compton Spain said shut down the emails. They don't want any more emails coming in. I don't know why. They were claiming it was spam because people wanted to join. I don't know. I hear that the board gets appointed in January. I don't know. If the town board has the authority to fire or rearrange what's going on that board, I believe right now that Compton Spain is running a great institution that was being used in our town for the good of our lake. He's running it into the ground right now. And I think there needs to be changes. And I'm not saying I'm the man to make those changes to the board, because far be it for me to be the smartest person in the room to handle those things, but I can see what's going on. Now, yes, do I have a problem with what's going on with Compton Spain, Billy Spain, Mr. Maxwell, and Rody Carr? You're darn right I do. They have a lawsuit against us, myself, my family, the town, Office of General Services. I don't know how you and all of you don't have that same problem that I have. Those people that are supposed to be representing us, the people of Mahopac and Lake Mahopac, they are suing the town. They did it. Whether you like it or not, they did. And that's what's going on. And I have news for you. I believe you're going to see more of that, in my opinion, of what's going to go on if you let it keep going. I think we have to draw the line somewhere, and we have to figure out, do we want to reconfigure that board? Do we want to start over again? We need some transparency. I understand you don't regulate them, but if you can hire and fire them, then you should have the ability to ask what's going on and to see what's happening. And if you don't, get them off your website and stop referring to them for information. I don't think it's right. And I got news for you. Hundreds of other people that are just starting to find out about this don't think it's right either. And if you do, I would love to sit down and have a cup of coffee with anybody here who can tell me how that's the right way to do it. I think it's ridiculous. I'd like to know how they're handling the geese on the lake. I'd like to know about the weed control. I'd like to know about the carps. I'd like to know the information that was put into all of that research and stuff, which the taxpayers paid for all those things that were done. Everything that was done, correct? The taxpayers pay for all of those things. They don't pay the salaries of the board, but they pay for all those things that go on. I would like to know that research, who gave it to us. I know we hired specialists to look at them. Did anybody verify that data to how many carp we should have, to how long it will take, and to see what's going on? Did it come from the park district to us, or did it come from our specialist? And was that specialist better than what we had that's attempting to put rules in on rezoning our town, who has no idea, who's not a specialist in lakefront or our lake in particular and what's going on? It has me worried and upset. I feel, and so do many, many other people, that we're being pushed and pushed and pushed, and we're getting stuff tried to be slid in the back door. And whether it's true or not, I offered a way to not have that speculation, and that was to have a meeting here and invite everybody. Now, I know in the beginning, we all should have read that 400-page, 300-page document. I know we all should have checked the town website every single day, every week, to see when the meetings were. We all should have went online and done our homework. It's all a shame on us that we didn't do that, and we weren't notified that that stuff was happening. It's also a shame on me that I volunteered to go to all of those zoning meetings and do those surveys and sit down on those things. It's shame on me that I didn't ask someone to say, hey, you're rezoning the lake? Geez, I own a marina on the lake. I could probably call up Kenny McDonald, who loves Lake Mahopac like I do, and been here his whole life, and the two of us could give you real data and real information on what we might be able to help with. And Susie, no disrespect to you, but we have no business deciding how many boats are on someone's dock. We have no business doing that. That is not our decision to make, me or Kenny. I don't know whose decision it is, but it is not our decision to make like that. I am so proud of our board and the people that represent us. Everyone here, I've had, almost everyone here, I apologize, almost everyone here I have had interactions with at some point in time, or I have watched you and seen you in action. I don't believe anybody has any reason to do anything malicious, false, or against, or not for the good of Lake Mahopac. I truly, truly believe that. But what I find right now appalling is that no one here is doing anything to protect what's going on. And Susie, I believe your heart's in the right place, but I don't think we're getting the right information to get the stuff done properly, to give the people the right answers. I think we're catering to a small group of people who have power enough to go ahead and to push buttons to get things done. That's my opinion on what's going on here tonight. And whether anybody else wants to say it or not, that's what I feel is going on. And I'm going to tell you, I have people after people ready to do it. That's it for me.
Thank you, Charlie, very much.
And I'm waiting to talk about the sluice with Kenny whenever you have time. He's here tonight if you want to talk after.
Yeah, I wanted to put the engineer in the room, too. with it,
Whenever you're
because
ready to talk about
He's
it, I
got
know.
questions about it. The both of you, I agree with what you're saying with the water,
Yeah.
but I want the engineer to hear it just because.
I'm not disagreeing at
I'm not
all.
an engineer. I just believe the two of you who've got your feet wet every day know where the level is and
I
what you
agree.
need to
Ken,
do.
you're more than happy to help with talking about that, right? And so am I. So whenever you're ready,
Yes.
we're ready to
We're
talk
gonna
about
do
it.
that.
Again, I want to tell you all that I'm sorry, I'm passionate, and I'm wound up. I could throw this notebook in the garbage because I spoke from the heart with everything I just told you. But it's the truth and how I feel. And it's more than just an opinion. I've been here a long time. I see what's going on. And I have news for you. I believe every one of you know what's going on. And I believe every one of you know what's happening. The matter of fact is who will stand up and do the right thing for the people around this lake. That's what it comes down to.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you for your time, everybody. And again, I hope I get to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I hope I don't see you before then again. Hopefully we can get through this next week.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Joe, can you touch on the planning, where we're at with the, so Joe Charbonneau, our attorney, is here, sitting in for Greg Fulchetti?
So the planning board, as Charlie mentioned, has been going through almost line by line the master plan, specifically the zoning code. They went through about 4 pages of text in well over 4 hours the other night. So they're taking a considerable amount of time. And I believe, to address one of the questions that you raised earlier, they talked about what lakes did they compare Lake Mahopac to. I believe one of them was Saranac Lake. I'm not sure. I believe that there were others. And we had that same question that we were going to ask Bonnie as well, because they wanted to know were they comparing apples to apples or apples to oranges. So that was a question. The jurisdictional question came up, and that's something that council is going to have to deal with relative to what we can and cannot do zoning-wise around the lake. We're restricted. We don't own the lake, okay? The town doesn't own that. Everybody knows that. So we are restricted by law, under the navigation law, where and what we can and cannot regulate. But there are ways around that. The Greenway Compact is one of them. So there are outstanding issues that have been discussed by the planning board. I believe we've now devoted, either before, after, or during meetings, about, I want to say over a month and a half. We probably have at least 2 more meetings to go because it has been painstaking. I believe we also have a member of the Park District on the Planning Board. So we do have insight and knowledge from whatever skill set he brings to the Park District to the Planning Board. So, which is probably why it's taken such a considerable amount of time to go through it, because it's personal to the Planning Board. The Planning Board has a vested interest in it. But the public needs to understand something. The Planning Board didn't draft this document. This document was given to us by the town board pursuant to statute to comment and critique. And at the conclusion of that process, vis-a-vis the town planner, Pat Cleary, a document will be presented to the town board, and then they'll have the ability to consider that and certainly discuss it with their consultant and hopefully make this a document that everybody can live with. So I would say, but we're shooting for the end of January. In all likelihood, by probably the first meeting in February, we'll have a document that's presentable to the town board.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you. I have as much confidence as I have in this town board, I have in the planning board as much. I watched what was dumped on their lap, a tremendous amount of information and things to decipher and figure out, and they have a painstaking long ordeal to try to do it properly. I agree.
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
They really are, and if you haven't seen it, you should look, because I applaud these people for what they're trying to figure out, how they're trying to get it done.
Extremely diligent.
Yes,
Yes.
without a doubt. I think they really, really are a fabulous board for what we have going on with it. But with that being said, the only issue that I ask is that what you just said to me about you believe it was Saranac Lake, we could stop so much of what's floating around there, just what I see people asking me on the internet and things and questions and phone calls and text messages.
Well, I didn't make that up out of whole cloth. It's in the document.
Charlie, I
read
wrote
it.
that down. I'll get the
I'll
links
leave
for
you
you.
alone. I'm sorry.
So there's a
I'll
lot.
get the list of lakes for you.
There's
right?
a lot of stuff in there, and unfortunately, I've read it all.
Yeah.
And when you read it all, you see things like, okay, Saranac Lake popped out. I think there was another lake. Off the top of my head, I could probably find it if I brought it with me. I'm not 100% sure, but that's the stuff that I retain.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joe. So if there are no other comments, I ask someone to give me a resolution, a motion to accept the minutes from November 9th and November 16th, 2022.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, our first resolution, awarding bids for miscellaneous highway department materials. Councilman Shannell?
Whereas the town board, the town of Carmel, has previously authorized advertisement for the solicitation of bids for Highway Fall 2022 materials, and whereas Highway Superintendent Michael Simone has recommended the awarding of the bids as per attached memo dated November 23rd, 2022, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby awards the bids for the foregoing materials to the lowest responsible bidders who met specifications after adjustment for mileage in the case of FOB plant bids as attached hereto and made a part hereof. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Ms. Deli, can we get a roll call?
Sure. Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 1 passed. Our second resolution is authorizing refund for a permit fee. Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of the town of Carmel Director of Codes Enforcement, hereby authorizes refund of permit fee for one-family dwelling, permit number 21-0745, tax map number 55.14-1-26.323. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by McDonough. Can we get a roll call for that?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 2 passed. Our third resolution is adopting assessment roles for the operation and maintenance of improvements of the garbage, sewer, and water districts for fiscal year 2023. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read that?
Sure. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby adopts the assessment roles for the operation and maintenance of the improvements serving Carmel Sewer Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and extensions thereto as well as Carmel Water Districts number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and 14, and extensions thereto, as well as the Town of Carmel Garbage District of said town for fiscal year 2023, as originally prepared by Town Assessor Glenn Drosy and filed with the Town Clerk as the final assessment rolls for the year 2023. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Baranowski. Can we get a roll call on that?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 4 passed. Our fifth resolution is accepting proposal for planning consulting services. Councilman Baranowski, would you read that?
Resolved that the town.
Oh, wait,
No, number 4.
number 4, sorry. Authorizing purchase and installation of technology upgrades, Town of Carmel Town Hall, number 4. Sorry, Steve.
That's okay. Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell, hereby authorizes the purchase, acquisition of desktop computer and printer replacements from Hewlett-Packard in accordance with the schedule, attached schedule in the sum of $22,923.10. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Shano and McDonough. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, number 4 passed. Our fifth resolution is accepting proposal for planning consultant services. Councilman Shano, would you?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal for the provision of planning consultant services with Patrick Cleary of Cleary Consulting, Northport, New York, for a period of 1 year commencing January 1st, 2023, and concluding December 31st, 2023, for an annual sum not to exceed $60,000. And be it further resolved that upon presentation of insurance certificates in form and content satisfactory to council, Supervisor Michael Kazari is authorized to execute a contract for said services and any other documentation necessary to accept the aforementioned proposal. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Could roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 5 passed. Our sixth resolution, accepting proposal for HVAC maintenance annual contract. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby accepts the proposal of Atlantic Westchester Commercial HVAC Solutions, Bedford Hills, New York, for the annual heating, ventilation, and air conditioning maintenance at the Town of Carmel Town Hall facilities at an annual cost of $13,400 and in accordance with the proposal dated October 21st, 2022. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 6 passed. Resolution authorizing signing of change order number 1, contract C-280 Town Hall improvements. Councilwoman McDonough, would you read that one?
Yes. Whereas on July 20th, 2022, the Town Board of the Town of Carmel previously authorized entry into a contract for installation of network access control systems for Carmel Town Hall and the Carmel Police Department facilities with DAS Parking Services, LLC, Hopewell Junction, New York. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel, upon the recommendation of Town of Carmel Town Engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., hereby authorizes Supervisor Michael Kazari to sign change order number 1 to the aforementioned contract, resulting in an overall contract price increase of $5,860. And be further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any and all necessary budget transfers or modifications required to fund the cost of this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilman Baranowski.
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Resolution number 7 passed. Resolution number 8, resolution authorizing performance of emergency repairs, Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant. Councilman Baranowski, would you read that?
Resolved, the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Carmel Sewer District Number 2, and upon the recommendation of town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., hereby authorizes the emergency replacement of the boiler unit at the Carmel Sewer District Number 2 wastewater treatment plant, sand filter structure by Swaco Fuel Oil, Inc., at a cost not to exceed $57,370, and in accordance with the proposal attached to the memorandum dated November 30, 2022, and be it further resolved that Town Supervisor Michael Kazari is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to accept said proposal, and be it further resolved that Town Comptroller Mary Ann Maxwell is hereby authorized to make any budgetary transfers or modifications required pursuant to this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman McDonough.
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 8 passed. Our 9th resolution, authorizing acceptance of proposal for soil boring services and analysis. Councilman Shannon?
Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel, acting as commissioners of Lake Hassie Park District, and upon the recommendations of town engineer Richard J. Franzetti, P.E., hereby authorizes acceptance of the proposal of Weston and Sampson, Reading, M.A., Massachusetts, for the performance of soil boring services and analysis required in conjunction with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation mandated maintenance, rehabilitation, and repair of the Lake Hassie Dam. And be it further resolved that such proposal is hereby authorized at a cost not to exceed $43,000 in accordance with the proposal submitted to the town of Carmel dated June 2022, and be it further resolved that the town supervisor, Michael Kazari, is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents to accept said proposal, and be it further resolved that the town comptroller, Mary Ann Maxwell, is hereby authorized to make any budgetary transfers or modifications required pursuant to this authorization. I offer this resolution as read.
I'll second it. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough? Yes. Councilman Shano?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, resolution number 9 passed. Go ahead.
No, it's for something later on.
Oh, okay. Our 10th resolution is authorizing scheduling of a public hearing. Resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes the scheduling of a public hearing at Town Hall, 60 McAlpin Avenue, Mahopac, New York, 10541, on Wednesday, January 11th, 2023, at 7 p.m., or as soon thereafter that evening as possible, on a proposed local law which is proposing amendments to Chapter 137 of the Code of the Town of Carmel entitled Taxation, and be it further resolved that Town Clerk Ann Spofford is hereby authorized and instructed to publish and post the necessary notices in the official newspaper of the town and the town bulletin board regarding this public hearing. I offer this resolution as read. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 10 passed. Resolution authorizing signing of intermunicipal agreement between the County of Putnam and the Town of Carmel. Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes, resolved that the town board of the town of Carmel hereby authorizes the town supervisor, Michael S. Kazari, to sign on behalf of the town of Carmel the intermunicipal agreement between the County of Putnam and the town of Carmel with regard to the allocation of the American Recovery Plan Act, ARPA, and the Putnam County sales tax revenue to the town of Carmel in the form as is on file in the office of the town supervisor. And be it further resolved that a copy of said intermunicipal agreement be filed with town clerk Ann Spofford after signature by the town supervisor. I offer this resolution as read.
Second.
Seconded by both Baranowski and Shannell. Can we get a roll call?
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes, number 11 passed. Number 12, resolution granting open development status, Regina Jellicoe subdivision, tax map number 64.13-1-16. Councilwoman McDonough?
Which one am I doing?
Jellicoe, right?
No, I just did the intermunicipal agreement. He's doing Jellicoe,
Okay.
right?
Whereas the Town of Carmel Planning Board has received an application from Regina Jellicoe for a two-lot subdivision in which one lot will not have access to the improvised street with the right-of-way width of at least 50 feet, and whereas the subject parcel designated as tax map 6413-1-16 is located off of Austin Road and has an approximate area of 8.65 acres and is located in an R residential zoning district, and whereas the proposed subdivision is shown on a plan prepared by Architectural Visions PLLC entitled Final Plot Prepared for Regina Jellicoe dated April 1st, 2022, last revised November 21st, 2022, and whereas the applicant has represented it is the owner and/or the authorized agent of record and has agreed on behalf of the owner to a lot count of 2 lots in an open development area and to a total of no more than 2 lots in the entire subdivision, and to the establishment of a limitation on any future subdivisions of the property as a term and conditions of open development, and whereas the Town of Carmel Planning Board has previously recommended granting the open development to the aforesaid subdivision, now whereas be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby grants an open development status to Lot 1 and 2 in this proposed Architectural Visions PLLC final plat prepared for Regina Jellicoe, subject to the following terms and conditions as on file in the town clerk's office.
You can skip through 1 through 8 and go right to the last recital paragraph.
Be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby consents to the Town of Carmel Planning Board acting as lead agency for the purposes of New York State Environmental Quality Review in connection with all necessary approvals and subdivisions referenced in this subdivision. I offer this resolution as read.
Seconded.
Seconded by, I don't know, all 3 of them.
So
Okay, roll call?
Just before you vote, this is, just so the board is aware, this is a typical open development resolution. The only difference is there's a paragraph in there regarding the board not having any objection to the planning board being lead agency. The applicant will then appear before the planning board for a final subdivision resolution, final subdivision approval on the January calendar, right? So this is, there's only one addition to a normal open development resolution, and that's it.
Thank you. So roll call.
Councilman Baranowski?
Yes.
Councilwoman McDonough?
Yes.
Councilman Shannell?
Yes.
Supervisor Kazari?
Yes. Resolution number 13, resolution making SECA determination in regard to the rehabilitation of Lake Mahopac Dam project. Councilwoman Baranowski?
Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby determines that. Resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Carmel hereby determines that the rehabilitation of the Lake Mahopac Dam project is a Type 2 action under seeker 6 NYCRR Section 617.5C2, and no further review is necessary. I offer this resolution as read.
Second?
Seconded by McDonough. We could just do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 13 passed. All right, so town board comments. There's a menorah lighting ceremony led by Rabbi Avi Koreh of Shabbat of Putnam this Sunday, December 18th, 4 p.m. on the shore of Lake Oneida, and that's the intersection of Route 6 and Route 52 up in the Hamlet of Carmel. There'll be a special Hanukkah concert prior to the menorah lighting, apple cider, and there'll be latkes and other stuff there. Town Hall will be closed for the upcoming holidays on Monday, December 26th, in observance of Christmas Day, and on Monday, January 2nd, in observance of New Year's Day. Yep.
I have nothing.
Just to remind everybody that I believe Saturday, this Saturday coming up, the Mahopac Volunteer Fire Department is going to have Santa Claus on the fire trucks going throughout the town, giving out candy canes, so all the little good children can go out there and get some candy canes.
And this is our last town board meeting of the year, correct,
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Supervisor?
Yep.
Yes. That's all I have.
So,
Yeah, so Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy holidays to
Hanukkah.
all,
yep,
and happy and healthy New Year.
yep, happy Hanukkah and have a happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next year.
Have a good night.